If you've seen our previous video, you'll know we've just done a bareboat holiday in the Whitsundays. The cost to holiday on these luxury boats is often considered a bit of a mystery, so in this video, I'll reveal exactly how much we spent hiring this $1 million yacht. And at the end, I'll even tell you some ways you can save quite a bit of money if you're thinking of doing a similar trip. Okay, first of all, if you don't know what bareboating is, it's when you hire a boat and take it cruising yourself. It's called bare because the charter boat doesn't come with a skipper or crew. You literally drive the boat yourself. Bareboat charters are fantastic holidays. And best of all, anyone can do them, even if you've never driven a boat before. No license is required. Okay, so let's go through all the expenses. Before we get onto the boat itself, there's some additional expenses that you might not have considered. First, you're gonna have to get to the Whitsundays. Most of the bareboats are harboured in the mainland township of Airlie Beach, which is 1,100 kilometres north of Brisbane. We thought a road trip would be fun and spent around $400 in fuel and $800 in overnight accommodation, driving up and back from Brisbane. In hindsight, flying into nearby Hamilton Island or Proserpine Airport would have been so much easier and cost about the same, as you can get domestic flights for around $300 return per person. Now, there are some benefits to driving up, as I'll soon explain, but you will have to park your car somewhere while you're out on the boat. Just made it. Yes! What a drive. Thankfully, Sea Marina at Airlie Beach has plenty of open air parking, and it only costs $70 for the week. Okay, so now that you've arrived at Airlie Beach in the Whitsundays, you need to provision your boat with all the food, drinks and groceries you'll need for your charter. Now, because we had our car, we were able to drive to the supermarket and do it all ourselves. But if you fly in, you'll have to organise for everything to be delivered to the marina. So for our young family, our shopping bill came to $500. Now the boat's not the only thing you'll want to hire. While the boat comes with all the essential equipment, you might want to hire some additional toys, especially if you flew up and couldn't bring much. We brought our own fishing rods and snorkeling equipment, but hired this stand-up paddleboard for $154. And because it was irukandji season, we also hired full-length stinger suits, which were $30 for each of us. Now, before you step on board the boat, you really need to consider this next expense: insurance. This is a tricky one. Our charter company took a $3,000 credit card pre-authorization to cover the boat insurance excess. That way, if the boat was sunk or damaged during our charter, this $3,000 is the most we'd have to pay. Now obviously, if you return the boat undamaged, this amount is not charged, so I won't include it in our tally, but you do need to have the funds available. Some people choose to take out additional insurance policies to cover things like cancellations, medical emergencies and personal property. But since we were travelling domestically in our own state, we elected not to purchase any additional insurance policies. Okay, now not many people are aware of this next cost, but if you're in a big group, it can add up. It's termed the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Permit Admin Fee. Now, who knows what it pays for, but it's $37 per person, and your charter company will organise and collect it from you. For our family of 4, this permit charge came to $148. Okay, so we've done all the small expenses, now on to hiring the $1 million boat. I'll first go through the cost of the boat, and then I'll tell you how much fuel we used during our 7-night charter. We paid $3,375 to hire our bareboat for 7 nights. Now while this might seem expensive, it's actually on the low end of the spectrum for charter boats. All the charter companies have a range of boats in their fleet, and the cost varies significantly depending on the specific vessel you choose to hire. The larger vessels tend to cost a lot more, but this is somewhat offset by the fact that they can also accommodate a lot more people. For example, the 10-year-old 35-foot motor cruiser we hired was relatively small and could only comfortably sleep 4 people. However, the larger catamarans in the fleet, which were 2 to 3 times more expensive, could accommodate 8 to 12 people. So although the cost is much higher for these larger vessels, if you're splitting the cost with another family on board, or perhaps 2 other couples, it can work out about the same. Now if you want to save money on the boat hire rate, here are some things you can do. Most charter companies have a minimum charter duration of 5 nights, but if you hire for a week or longer, the daily rate will actually be discounted significantly. But even without the discount, I'd recommend a week charter duration because it gives you enough time to explore the area without getting cabin fever. Any longer on board and we would have wanted to break up our trip by pulling into Hamilton Island Resort, where a marina berth costs around $150 a night. Another way to save on the boat hire rate is to charter during off-peak season. Our charter was during the Christmas school holidays, which is summertime here in Australia. Now you would expect this to be peak season, but it's actually not. Summer in the tropics can be very wet, humid and hot, and there's also a much higher risk of stingers and cyclones. So peak season is considered to be September and October, and you'll pay a lot more to charter a vessel during these months. Another way to save on the boat hire rate is to charter a sailing boat rather than a motorboat. Sailing boats tend to be cheaper, and although they still have a small motor, it tends to be a lot more economical to run. Which brings me on to the final cost, and the one that people often don't budget for. Fuel. Fuel is not covered in the boat hire fee. You pay it directly to the marina when you refuel the boat at the end of your charter. We operated our boat's engine for around 4 hours every day and used 350 litres of diesel fuel in total. With diesel costing $1.34 a litre at the marina, we paid $470 to refill the boat's fuel tanks at the end of our charter. Now while this seems a lot, it works out to be less than $60 a day, which I actually think is pretty reasonable. You also have to refill the dinghy's small fuel tank with petrol, but this cost us less than $20. So all totaled, we spent $490 on fuel for the week. Now this is where a sailing boat can have another advantage. Okay, so all totaled, our Whitsunday Bareboat holiday cost 6,057 Australian dollars, which is around 4,600 US dollars. Now to put this into perspective, if you were to purchase this type of vessel new, you would need to spend around 1 million Australian dollars. Very few people could ever afford to own a boat like this, and yet for a tiny fraction of the cost, you can have the exact same holiday experience as the owner would. And at the end of the charter, you hand back the keys and walk away. No cleaning, no maintenance, no marina fees, nothing. You just enjoy your time on board the boat and all the rest is taken care of. Well, if you haven't already, click the link below and watch the video of our bareboat holiday to see exactly what it's like. And let me know in the comments if you have any more questions about bareboat charters. Thanks for watching, hang in there, and I'll see you next time.
I knew we'd make it.